So hello guys, today welcome to my new channel. Hello guys, welcome back to my another video. Today I'm going to talk about I'm going to first do my computer homework, and then we will study about computers, the internet and its uses, whereby we will talk about the internet and the World Wide Web, requesting the interviewing web page, the purpose of a web browser, digital currency, and cyber security. That will be for computer sciences, IGCSE Cambridge. And we'll also do business, whereby we'll talk about the marketing, competition, and the customer, the marketing research. Yes, so let's get started. State the name given to the infrastructure that allows a user to access the World Wide Web. A URL is the name given to the next base address for a web page. The web page key name is one part that is used to create the URL. Identify the name for one other part of a URL. The name for one other part of URL. State the name of the hardware that finds the corresponding IP address for a URL. Search engine. The given paragraph describes how a web page is located and retrieved to be displayed on a user's device. Complete the missing words in the paragraph. The user types the URL into the address bar in the search engine. This is sent to the DNS. It is sent to the DNS. Where the corresponding IP address is found. The IP address is sent to the web browser. The web browser uses the IP address to send a request to the web server, and then it is sent to the One function of a web browser is to store cookies. Identify two other functions of a web browser. To render HTML to allow a user to view web page. It also has other functions such as recording a user's history, storing bookmarks, favorites, and cookies. A web browser, right? Web browser. The main purpose of Hey, wait. And it also has the other functions such as recording a user's history and storing bookmarks. State the name of the type of the cookie that is stored in computer until it is deleted by the user or by the web browser when it expresses. What this is a software that can be used to scan a computer or malicious files. 10. Draw a line to connect. What is that? Okay. Letter B equals to 2. Letter C. Okay, so guys, now we are going to talk about the not the internet and its uses. So we'll talk about the software and the hardware, because that is where we have started our term. So yeah, let's start with software. Hey, wait, my book. Okay, let's talk about software. First, we're going to start about the meaning of software. Software, a series of instructions written in a program language that performs a function. A series of instructions written in a programming language that performs a function. Yeah, there are two types of softwares. There is a system software and an application software. A system software, a type of software that manages the hardware and software in a computer. Application software is a software that allows the user to perform a useful task. So a system software manages the running of hardware and other software and allows communication between the components. These are tasks that help the computer perform its functions and improve or maintain its efficiency. Two types of system software are the operating system and the utility program. Operating system, a program that manages the computer, that allows the user to communicate with the computer and allows software to be run. Utility program, system software that performs housekeeping activities. Examples of utility programs are not required but useful to know. These are programs that maintain the computer system. For example, system cleanup, searches for and removes unused programs and data. Defragmentation rearranges files so that they are located together contiguously and that the free spaces is located together. Application software, as we talk about the application software, allows the user to perform a task. It provides the services for the users, for example, write a letter, view a website, and etc. Application software have generic names as well as the brand names. It is important that you know the generic names. Some of the common ones are the word processor, which allows the user to create written documents. A spreadsheet allows the user to perform calculations on data. A database allows the user to store and search a set of data. A web browser allows the user to view and navigate websites. Now we are going to talk about the operating systems. An operating system is an example of system software, as I mentioned there before. You may be familiar with brands such as Windows, Linux, and macOS for PCs and laptops. Other computers also have operating systems. For example, a mobile phone may have an Android OS or iOS. The overall purpose of this operating system is to allow the users to interact with the hardware. The OS has many different roles that are described in the following sections. We'll talk about the providing an interface. An interface, let's talk about what is an interface first. Interface, the method by which a user communicates with a computer. And there are different types of interfaces. There are three main types. The graphic user interface, the command line interface, and the natural language interface. Graphical user interface has windows, icons, menus, and pointers. It is what you will be familiar with from PCs, mobile phones, etc. This is most useful for novices because it is often intuitive. An example is Windows. A command line interface requires the user to enter text as command. That is most useful for expert user because the command's external part commands entered must be exact. An example is Linux. A natural language interface allows the user to enter any text commands or speak commands. The OS then analyzes that has been entered and perform the action. These were the three main, but there are more, like the managing files, managing peripherals and drivers, managing memory, managing multitasking, managing interrupts, providing a platform for running applications, managing user accounts, and only that. We will talk about it right now. So let's talk about the managing files. A user will use application software to create files. The OS allows the creation of directories that the file can be stored within. It allows the user to move files, copy files, delete files, name and rename files, plus many other actions such as sorting by date. Managing peripherals and drivers. This is the fifth one. A computer cannot be used without input and output devices. These are called peripherals. A hardware device used to input, store, or output data from computer. This is not directly part of the computer itself. It's known as the peripherals. Anyone can build a peripheral, and it will be programmed by the person who made it, not the developer of the OS. This means that it may not be compatible. For example, it may use a different interpretation of binary. A driver is software that translates data from the computer to the peripheral and vice versa. The OS allows the installation of these drivers and the sending of data to and from it. Guys, I'll be back. I'll bring my water bottle in 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. Where are we? We were at the managing peripherals and drivers. My bad. So we're done with it. Now we are going to talk about the managing memories. Managing memories. The OS manages the movement of data to and from hardware, primarily RAM. It also checks the processes being carried out and making sure that they have enough memory allocated to perform their functions. The OS will also make sure that two processes do not try and access the same memory location. My God. The OS will also make sure that two processes do not try and access the same memory location. Managing multitasking. The seventh one. A single processor can only ever evacuate one instruction at a time. The processor does this so fast that it appears to be doing several tasks at once. For example, you might be listening to music from a computer, typing a document into a word processor, and the computer is outputting what you are doing. The OS allows this to happen by deciding which processes should be executed next time and how long they can spend being processed before switching to another process. The OS does this using interrupts. Interrupts a signal sent to the processor to tell it that its attention is required. Managing interrupts. An interrupt is a signal sent to the processor to tell it that something needs its attention. The OS decides which interrupt to run and then perform the action required. This is more about interrupts in section 4.3. Providing a platform for running applications. Application software needs to run on a computer. The software could be written by anyone using any language. The OS allows the application software to run on the computer by fetching instructions from it and executing them. Managing user's account. Most computers need a user to set up an account. This can include preferences as well as a username and password. The OS allows a user to set up an account. An account keeps the data separate from multiple accounts and restrict the access by using the password. Now we are going to talk about the interrupts. As I said, interrupt is a signal to the processor to tell it that something needs its attention. An interrupt can be software or hardware based. An interrupt can be software or hardware based. Okay. There are several examples of interrupts in softwares and hardwares. Softwares: division by zero. Two processors attempting to access the same memory location. Program request for input, output required, and data required from memory. Data input. Example: key pressed on a keyboard, mouse click. Error from hardware. Example: printer out of the paper. Hardware failure. Hard drive signal that has read data. And new hardware devices connected. An interrupt has a priority level. ચાલુ છે મારો હૈલું. An interrupt has a priority level. A high level priority interrupt needs the attention quickly. For example, hardware failure. A low priority interrupt needs the processor but it's not urgent. For example, data input. This is managed by the interrupt handler. When an interrupt is generated, it is put in a queue according to its priority. The sequence of activities is: when the processor finishes the current fetch, decode, execute cycle, or before the starting of the next FDE cycle, it checks the interrupt queue. It checks whether there is an interrupt with a higher priority than the current task it is processing. If it is, it stores the current process and fetches the interrupt. Checks the source of the interrupt, calls the relevant interrupt service routine. This is a sequence of instructions that handle the interrupt. When finished, the stored process is returned to memory or another level priority interrupt is fetched. If it isn't, it runs another fetch, decode, execute cycle. Now we are going to talk about the types of programming language. There are two types of programming language: a high-level programming language and a low-level programming language. In high-level programming language, there are Python, Java, JavaScript, C++, C++, and VB.NET. These are all examples of Python. High-level programming language, a type of programming language that uses English-like commands. Low-level languages, examples of low-level languages are machine code and assembly languages. Machine code, binary code, an example of a low-level language. Assembly language, code written in mnemonics, mnemonics that allows direct manipulation of the hardware. It must be converted into binary code to run. Low level language is a language closer to the machine's language that could be assembly language or binary code like 01001, because after all, computer can only understand zeros and ones. Now now we are going to talk about some differences between benefits and drawbacks about high level languages and low level languages. First, we are going to talk about high level languages. They are easier for users to understand, read, write, and amend, while the low level languages more difficult for users to understand, read, write, and amend. We use English in high level language, which is easier for us humans to read and understand the code properly, and low level languages uses zeros and one, which makes it hard for humans to understand. High level language is easier for users to debug code, portable, machine independent. It must be converted into a low level language before it can be run. This is a disadvantage because computer, as I said before, that they can only understand zeros and ones. So this English language should be converted to binary code. These are called binary code, and then the computer can understand and run the process. One statement can represent many low-level instructions, cannot directly manipulate the hardware. Low-level languages harder for users to debug code, not portable, machine dependent. Machine code does not need converting. Assembly language must be assembled before execution, but this is faster than from a high level language. Several instructions are needed for each high level language. Statement can directly manipulate the hardware, example writing to specific memory location. This can make the program more efficient in terms of speed and memory usage. Now we are going to talk about translators. There are three main types of translator: the assembler, the interpreter, and the compiler. The assembler converts assembly language into machine code. If you have a program written in assembly language, then an assembler is used to convert the instruction into machine code for the processor the code is being run out. The interpreters are a translator that converts a high-level language into a low-level language. It checks one line of code and then executes it before checking the next one. Basically, interpreters. First we'll talk about the assembler. Assembler converts the language into the machine code. Assembler is its main job is to convert the language into a machine code, which means a binary code, and then it goes to the interpreter, whereby it checks one sentence every time and checks whether if there is an error or not. If there is, it will tell the user that there is an error and correct it. After that it will go to the next sentence and go on. Now, compiler is a translator that converts a high-level language into a low-level language. It checks all code before running the program. Before running the program, whether if the code is about a paragraph or about a page, first it will check the whole thing if there are any errors or not, and then it will execute the program. Now we are going to talk about some interpreters are an interpreter read one line at once, checks it synthetically correct. If it is not, it stops and reports an error to the user. If it is, it executes the statement and moves to the next. Interpreters are most useful when writing the program because it will stop at an error, allows you to correct it, and then continue executing from the same point. Interpreters are not as useful for whole system testing or when the program is complete. This is because all of the code needs to be interpreted every time the program is run, even if there are no errors. A compiler checks all code before going through one line after the other. If there are any syntax errors, they are all reported to the user, and the program is not executed. If there are no errors, then an executable file is created. An executable file uses intermediate or object code derived from the high-level language code. The actual program code is not included, so if someone has the executable file, they cannot view or amend the original code. The executable file can be run without having to retranslate the code. Compilers are useful when you have finished the program or need to test working and eliminate repeatedly. This is because the code does not need to be translated each time the executable file is run repeatedly. Now we are going to talk about some comparisons between an interpreter and the compiler. An interpreter translates one code at a time into a machine code and then executes it. Compiler translates all lines of code into machine before executing the program. Interpreter reports a syntax error as soon as it picked up and stops the program running until corrected. Compiler reports all syntax errors at the same time the program is not run until all errors are corrected. Useful when writing a program. Compiler useful when a program has been finished and is ready for testing or distribution. Code needs to be retranslated each time the program is run. The compiler code does not need retranslating each time the program is run. The interpreter does not produce an executable file. Compiler produces an executable file. Source code is required to run the program. Compiler source code is not required to run the program, only the executable file. For example, Sarah is writing a computer game program that allows a character to move through different worlds collecting coins. Which translator should Sarah use when writing the code? It is more appropriate to use an interpreter. This will allow her to see when an error is identified, correct it, and then continue running the program from the same position. A compiler can be used, but then all the errors will appear at the start and she will need to correct all of them before seeing how many of her program runs. An interpreter is considered more appropriate, but you could justify the user of a compiler in this situation. Which translator should Saria use once she has finished programming the computer game and wants to sell it to users? The compiler should be used because she can produce an executable file. There should be no syntax error at this point, so correcting the code line by line is not required. The executable file can be distributed to people and they can then run the program without need to retranslate the instruction every time. The executable file also means that no one will be able to see her code, so it is protected. An interpreter will not be an appropriate choice here because the end users will need the interpreter software and the source code and will need to wait for it to be interpreted each time. It also means the user can access the source code and then copy it or change it. So now let's go through the summary. Software is created Software is created using programming language. Two types of software are application and system software. Two types of examples of system software are operating system and utility language. Let me check. I might be wrong, guys. I'm correct. Utility. The operating system performs many functions including memory management, handling interrupts, and providing an interface. An interrupt is a signal. Wait. Let me see. It is a signal sent to the processor to get its attention. Yeah. Basically, yeah. Assembly. A high-level language uses English-like terms that need translating before it can run. A low-level language is assembly or machine code. Assembly language is turned into machine code using an assembler. High-level language are turned into a low-level language using a compiler or interpreter. An IDE helps the user write, test, and run program code. Yeah. So this was about software. Now we are going to talk about hardware. Yeah. Oh no, wait. This is second term, guys. I think so. I need to change the topic. We are doing softwares and yeah, it's software and the internet and its uses. Oh no, wait, we have still started this chapter, the internet and its uses. So in the next lesson we're going to talk about this, about the internet and its uses. By that time I'll be done. So now let's go with our business. As I said, we are going to talk about the marketing competition and the customer and the market research. So let's go with chapter 10, page 138, third edition, revised third edition, Cambridge IGCSE, section 3, marketing, chapter 10, marketing, competition and the customer. Yeah, it's a very fun chapter. So first we'll talk about um, what is marketing. Marketing is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying consumer requirements profitability. We will talk about the role of market. Marketing is an essential part of a business whose main role is to convert wants into a need. It is also responsible for identifying and satisfying customer needs. Identifying and satisfying customer needs. You have already learned that the difference between consumers' needs and wants. The basic needs of individual are goods and services that are necessary for survival: water, food, clothing, and shelter. However, in addition to these essential needs, individual will also have things that would like but which are not necessary for their survival. These are known as wants. For example, you can say electronics. You can say you can take anything like like bro, I can't get any ideas. You know what? One of the main ideas are like electronics, and then now we are going. The next one is maintaining customer loyalty. Maintaining customer loyalty. Without customer, there is no business. Therefore, one of the most important role of marketing is to create a group of customer who the business can sell its product to. This is known as a customer base. The customer base, the product of customer a business sell its product to. Yeah. And the business must then build customer relationship to maintain the loyalty of its customers to the business and its products. The third and the final one is the building customer relationship. Once a customer base has been established, the marketing function must then aim to keep these customers. This is known as customer loyalty. This requires collecting as much information as possible about each individual customer, for example, their income, lifestyle, and buying habits. This information is then used to better identify and satisfy customer needs and carefully target individual customers with information about the firm's product. Now we are going to talk about the market changes. We will talk about first we talked about the marketing, the definition of marketing. Now we are going to talk about what is market. Marketing, let me tell you the difference between market and marketing. Market have two definitions. Marketing is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer requirements profitability, like needs and wants, making the wants as the needs. Now market, a place where buyers and sellers come together to buy and sell goods and services. The second meaning of market is all customers and consumers interested in buying a product and have the financial resources to do so. Why consumer spending patterns changes? That's our next subtopic. The business environment is one. Wait, I'm not done with market changes. However, market can also be used to describe all consumers who are interested in buying a product and have the financial resources to do so. These consumers can be described as the potential market for a product. When a business describes to produce products for a particular group of consumers, then these consumers are known as the target market. The target market, individual or organization identified by a business as the customers or consumer of its products. The term market can also describe the type of customer who the goods or services are sold to. This customer may be the final consumer or other businesses. The markets for this customer are known as the consumer markets and industrial markets. Consumer markets, products sold to the final consumer, for example food items, television and cars. Industrial markets, products sold to other businesses for use in the production process, for example machinery and equipment. For example of consumer markets, you say the final products, you can say a baby, no wait, the mom is buying nappies for the baby, and the baby is the final consumer, the one that the last person to use the product. Now industrial market, you can say like there is a small business, that business is selling sports activities, you can say sport equipments, for example for badminton you can say racket or shuttle and all. So that business will buy the products from the other businesses which is in other country. From there it will bring here to its business and then sell to the customer, and the customer that's a industrial market. That means that racket and shuttle, it had been sold from one business to another business. That means it's called an industrial market. I hope you got it. Why consumer spending patterns change? The business environment is one that is constantly changing. This means that the market for goods and services will also change over time. The amount of money customers or consumers spend on buying goods and services is affected by a number of factors. The price of the product. For most products, the higher its price, the lower the quantity sold, and the lower the price, the greater the quantity sold. This relationship between the price of a product and the demand or sales of the product is shown in figure 10.1. There will be a graph. Let me show you if I can. It will be a rough diagram, don't mind my drawing. Okay. You can see this diagram. Let me stand up. You can see this diagram. This is the price. This is the price, and this is the demand, and this is the quantity demand. So as you can see, as the demanded have increased, and the price had decreased, that means there is very less demand. And as the quantity decreased and the price increased, there will be more demand because there will be less quantity of products. Yeah. And now let's continue. The price of the competitor's product. Most businesses are in competitive markets. Most businesses are in very competitive markets. If the products of businesses are very similar, then consumers are most likely to buy the product that has the lowest price. Changes in consumer income. Consumers can only buy product if they have the money to do so. If consumers' income falls, for example, if an employee loses their job, then they will have less money to spend. When consumers have less money to spend, then will buy what they need for living, for example, water, food, shelter. They will spend less money on goods which might be considered a luxury, or example, takeaway meals, mobile phones, or holiday. Yeah, these are some examples of wants, like luxury items. You can say takeaway meals, mobile phones, as I said, or holidays, vacations. These are wants. These are all wants. Now the fourth one is the changes in population size and structure. If a country's population grows in size, then this increases the size of the market. This could increase business sales. The structure of the population might also change over time. For example, in some countries there are fewer children being born, but people are living longer. We say that a country with more elderly people and fewer children has an aging population. The sale of products for children will fall, but the sale of products for older people will rise. The fifth one is changes in taste and fashion. It is easy to see the effects on sales of changes in It is easy to see the effect on sales of changes in clothing fashion. However, other products also become more or less popular with changes in consumer taste and fashion. For example, in some countries, consumers are more aware of concerned about healthy eating. This has increased the demand in these countries for healthier food and drink. Producers have responded by reducing the sugar or salt content of their product. For example, Diet Pepsi. The spending on advertising and other promotional activities. Almost all businesses spend money promoting their food or services. Some national and multinational businesses spend huge amount of money on a single advertising campaign. Most advertising and promotional activities of businesses are aimed at persuading consumers to buy their product instead of competitors. Business also spend money on advertising to create a brand image. Consumer will often pay more product or for a product simply because of the brand name, even though there are similar, much cheaper product on the market. A good example of how branding affects demand is the trainer running shoe market. Many consumers, especially the young, prefer to buy shoes manufactured by Nike and other well-known brands rather than the cheaper alternatives that do not have a strong brand image. Um, Now, what is this? Now let's talk about how businesses respond to changing spending patterns and increased competition. If businesses do not respond to changing consumer spending patterns and more competitive markets, they are unlikely to survive. There are a number of actions a business can take to respond to changes in consumer spending patterns and increased level of competitors. These include product development, improve efficiency, increase promotion, and look for more markets. Product development. Market research will identify how the needs and wants of the consumer are changing. This information can be used to develop new products to satisfy the changing needs and wants of consumer. Developing new products will help a business to remain competitive. Improve efficiency. The efficiency use of resources will help a business to reduce average costs. If average costs are reduced, then our business will be able to reduce the price of its product. You have already learned that a decrease in price will increase sales. In very competitive markets, price can be an important factor for consumers when choosing whether or not to buy a product, and if they to decide to buy, who they buy the products from. Increase promotion. Increasing advertising to persuade consumer to buy your product and not that of competitors is another way a business might respond to changing level of competition and consumer spending patterns. Other promotional techniques such as buy one get one free and money off coupons may also be used to persuade consumers to purchase a firm's product instead of a competitor's product. Look for new markets. Sometimes consumer spending pattern change so much or the level of competition in market becomes so great that the better option is for a business to look for new market for its product. Market where there is less competition and where consumers are more likely to buy the product. Now we are going to talk about the niche market and the mass market. Niche market identifies and exploits a small segment of a larger market by developing products to suit it. Example, Versace designs reach high status consumer group. The advantage of it is that small firms are able to survive and earn profit, less competition, opportunity to charge high price, high profit margins. Disadvantages: opportunity for high profit will attract competition, lack of economics of scale, risk of over dependence on a single produce. Now we talked about the niche market. Now we are going to talk about the mass market. selling the same product to the whole market. The advantage is that larger sale equals to high profits. Risk is spread. Large market equals to more chances of growth. Benefit from economics of scale, which reduces unit cost. Guys, I'll be back. Be back. Yeah. The advantages of the mass market was larger sales equals to high profit. Risk is spread. Large market equals to more chances for growth. Benefit from economies of scale, which reduces unit cost. And disadvantage is that more competitive can't charge higher prices than competitors. Not all markets are large enough to support mass marketing. Yeah, that's all about niche and mass market. Now we are going to talk about market segmentation. What is a market segment? A part of a whole market in which consumers have specific characteristics. Nowadays, one group of consumers often want something different from other group of consumers. There are several reasons for this, including differences in culture, religious beliefs, and consumer taste. The whole market can therefore be divided into different parts according to the different want of each group of consumers. Each part of the whole market is shown as a market segment. Market segmentation, dividing the whole market into segments by consumers characteristics and then targeting different products to each segment. In the market has been divided into 4 segments. Each segment represents part of the whole market. The main method of market segmentations are geographic segmentations, the demographic segmentations, and psychographic segmentations. Geographic segmentation recognizes the consumers in one location may have different needs from consumers in another location. The location may be different region with the same country, different region of the world, different countries of the world. The geographic differences may be due to cultural resources, religious beliefs, or even different climate changes. Demographic segmentations is a method of dividing the whole market according to the characteristics of the population. The diagram below illustrates the main factors that may be used to segment a market using population characteristics. There is a diagram below whereby there is written demographic segmentation, and there are different types of demographic segmentation. There are 6 in total: age, gender, income, social class, ethnic background, and family size. So yeah, these factors are often combined when segmenting a market. For example, the Australian Tourist Commission divides the travel market into specific segments, including the independent adventure aged between 25 to 34, primary market, young independent travelers aged 18 to 24, a secondary market, and independent adventure age 45 to 65. Now, psychographic segmentation, dividing consumers in the market by lifestyles, personalities, and attitude. Uh, Benefits of segmentation to business. All these method divide the whole market into smaller groups. Whichever method is used to separate consumers into different segments or groups, segmentation has many benefits. Goods and services can be designed to meet the specific needs of consumer in each segment. This is likely to increase sales. Small firms which may not be able to compete in the whole market are able to operate in one or two segments. Perhaps a niche market. Segmentation of the whole market sometimes identifies a segment of consumers who have very specialized needs that are not currently being satisfied. This presents an opportunity for niche marketing. Um, 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 um. And with this, we have came to the end of the chapter. Yeah, so now have came to the end of the chapter, and now we'll go to the next chapter, which is also fun and interesting. Market research. Market research. What is market research, guys? The process of collecting, recording, and analyzing data about the customer, competitors, and market for a product. Now we talk about the information obtained from market research helps a business to the information obtained from market research helps a business to find out what customers like and dislike about these products, identify customer tastes and preferences, decide on the best promotion, packaging, and distribution method for each product, know as the product's unique selling point. Unique selling point, the special feature of a product that sets it apart from the competitor's product. Know the size of the market, explain the reason for the sales of its market of its current products, predict how the demand market its product may change in the future. Now we are going to talk about the primary research and the secondary research. These are wait, what are these? No, we forgot one thing. Market oriented business and product oriented business. Market oriented business products are developed based on consumer demand as identified by market research. Product oriented businesses firm decides what to produce, then tries to find buying. Much more better, guys. Primary research and secondary research. Primary research are collections of first-hand data for the specific needs of the firm. Qualitative research, there are two types of primary research where there is qualitative research and quantitative research. Qualitative research, collection of information about consumer buying behavior and their opinion about a product, while is quantitative, the collection of numeric data that can be collected through statistical techniques. There are methods of primary research with the use of focus group, focusing on the group, asking the group whether they have liked about this product or what would you give the feedback about and all. And observation, test market, and consumer surveys. For example, interviews, postal questionnaires, online surveys and all. Primary research is up to the date and relevant, but it is costly to collect and time consuming. So now we go to the next one, which is the secondary research, the collection of data from second-hand sources. For example, from internet, a government publication, government publication, newspaper and magazines, local library. These are all examples of secondary research. It is secondary research. It is cheap, easy and quicker to obtain, but data is not up to date and may have been collected for a deficient process. Now the next thing that we are going to talk about is we didn't talk about the advantages and disadvantages of primary research and secondary research. Primary research primary research data is up to date and benefits of primary research data is up to date. Data is collected for a specific purpose which is directly relevant to the business. It is not available to other businesses. This may provide a competitive advantage. And limitation is it is costly to collect. It is time consuming. There is a risk of the data being inaccurate or containing bias. For example, if the interviewers ask a question that leads the interviewee to give an answer which they might not have intended. Also, if the sample chosen to be surveyed does not represent the whole population, then the results will not reflect everyone's opinion. It may have been collected some time ago, so it is not up to date. It has not been collected for the specific purpose required by the business, so may not be as reliable or as useful as primary data. These are limitations of secondary research. It may have been collected some time ago, so it is not up to date. It has been collected for the specific purpose required by the business, so may not be as reliable or as useful as primary data. Advantages of secondary research is it is a fairly cheap to obtain. It is easier and quicker to obtain than primary research data. Now we are going to talk about the need for sampling. What is a sample? A sample, a representative sample of the target market selected to take part in a market research. When carrying out primary research, it is often too expensive and too time consuming to get the views of every consumer in the market. This problem can be overcome by selecting a sample from the total market. There are different methods of sampling, such as random sampling, stratified sampling, and quota sampling. The method chosen must produce a sample which is representative of the whole population. If the sample chosen is not representative of the population, then this may produce results which are biased and misleading. Um, Now we are going to talk about the presentation and the use of market research results. We have already talked about qualitative research and quantitative research. Qualitative research, such as the obtained from a focus panel or test market, is usually presented in the form of written reports. Managers use this when making decision about what to do next. For example, whether the product design should be changed or whether they need to change the color of the packaging. Quantitative research consists of data, usually lots of numbers. On their own, the number have title meaning, so the data has to be presented in a way that users will understand and be able to use. This includes tables, charts, graphs, and pictograms. Now, let's first talk about tables. Data is often presented in a table, such as the one shown in figure 11.3. You know what's a table, as you guys know. For example, it can be a table about advantages and disadvantages about primary and secondary sources, or it can be about anything. One of the examples you can say is that the one that I said right now. There will be primary and secondary. Up it will be limitations and benefits of it, and then there will be descriptions. That's a table. A large amount of data can be grouped and presented more clearly. It is easy to extract number of data. These are advantages of it. Now the main disadvantage are they lack visual impact. Too much data in the table make it difficult for user to understand. And now the next is bar charts. The data is shown as bar or columns. The bars can be drawn vertically or horizontally. The height of each bar shows the size of each. Answering the height or length of bars can be easily compared. The data has been used to draw vertical bar chart. The advantages of a bar chart are you can easily see the importance of each piece of data. You can read numerical values from the axis. However, there are also disadvantages, such as when the data values of the parts are very similar, it is difficult to compare the different parts, and the chart loses visual impact. Bar chart is a chart where they uses blocks instead of using dots, not dots, but a bar, a candle type. You can say like something is here and something is there. You can say this side will be the percentage of the people who like to watch football, and down here will be the age of it. So there will be from 60 to 50 to 100, and here will be like from what age. It can be from age 10 to 20, less than 20, or between 25 to 30, or 30 to 40, less than 50. And then with the use of it, they will make a bar. And it will keep on going until how many ages are there. One of the examples are here, as I took it, this one. Now the next one is pie chart. Pie charts are drawn as circles. Each part of the data is shown as a slice of the piece, or each slice shows the relative importance of each part of the data. Some of the data in figure has been used to draw the pie chart in figure 11.5. A pie chart is basically, you can imagine as a pizza, where you, for two people, you just cut in half. The half one person will take, another half will someone take. Even if you take at this table, there is a line here. So to give an example of it, you can say that there is a table that side. You can say 25% of this table is taking up business books. The other 25 is taking the stationaries, and the other 50% of it, it's taking the computer notebooks. This is one way whereby it can be presented, a pie chart. The advantages of pie chart is that they show how important each part of the data is compared to the other part. They are easier to understand for people who dislike numerical values, as there are no numbers. Disadvantages of pie chart include if there are too many slices, then it is difficult to see the relative importance of different part of the data. Yeah. So the next one is the line graph. It's the same as bar graph, but you use lines instead of bar, the candle type thing. So it's the same thing, but have you ever seen the, what do you call, the graph of coordinates in maths? In maths, when you join coordinates 3 and 4, where you join the coordinates, and then after doing it, you make a line. That's called the line graph. And by doing this, we are done with our business. So we are both done with business and computer. Wait, I'll be back. I want to take my pen. Wait, what? Oh my days. Okay, no, never mind. So guys, now we are going to do a bit of match practice for my exercise tomorrow in school. Let me take my maths books. Okay guys, so I'll do quadratic equations again, but instead of doing equations I'll do factorizations. So let's start. Okay, what's the first question? Number 1D. Plus 12x plus 35. Our product is 35 x to the power of 2. Our factors of it, it's positive and positive, so it will be 7 times 5, yep, 7x 5x. 5x plus 7x plus 35 plus 5x plus 37. Yep. Then go x plus 7 x plus 5. One g x to the power of 2 plus 11x plus 30 product 30x to the power of 2 factors are factors are 10 and 3, no, not 10 and 3, 6 and 5. X plus 6x plus 30 if it is, what was it, wait, no, it's something like that. It is positive and negative, that means this side should be negative and this side should be positive and this side should be negative. Got it. Okay, I see. To a x to the power of 2 product 12x to the power of 2 factors hey, wait, I forgot. Okay, we use negative and negative. Negative 6 minus 2, right? Yeah, 6, 7, 8. Now we do 6 minus 6x minus 2x plus 12 yeah, and then 6 minus x minus 6 x minus 2. Now we go for letter J. X to the power of 2 plus x minus 6. A. Yeah, okay, काही नाही एमा पण नाही. Product equals to minus 6x to the power of 2. Factors. It will be something like minus 6 or positive 6. Three times 2. Positive 3 minus 2. Isn't it? Yeah. And now you go like x to the power of 2 positive 3x minus 2x minus x. Yes. Yes. Hey, why am I not putting plus here? Now we factorize it. X plus, okay. X plus 3 x minus the 2. Now you go for 2i. I usually go for 3. Go for 3g. 5 5x to the power of 2 minus 5x minus 10. I think so we do the same thing. Let me try. Product equals to 50x to the power of 2 Hey, wait, what if it is negative and negative? Whoa. It will be a minus and a positive number. So here I should get a minus number 10 plus 5 minus 10 plus 5x, isn't it? Yes, to get minus 5x. Now we just group it. 5x to the power of 2 minus 10x plus 5x yeah, I'm doing correct. Minus 10, group it like terms, 5x x minus 2, yeah, positive 5x, positive 5x minus 2, each will be the same as 5x minus 2 and 5x. Do we take the outside one or the inner one? Oh damn. Wait. Five x. Wait. Wait. If I do this, it will be no, I don't want that. That means it will be it can't be true. It cannot be true. Hey, wait, what? Wait, if you factorize, if you expand it, don't we go like that? Okay, now I get it. 2 stays in, the 5 stays out. 40x. 40, which will be 10x and 4x. Is it? No! It's totally wrong. How? It's wrong. Yeah. What? Where is that 2 coming from, by the way? It is coming from 2 divided by 2. Yo, that's scary. I don't know what to do now. Okay, I need to ask teacher. So guys, we are done for today. What we have done today, we did computer science, business and maths. In computer science we did software, only about software. We couldn't do the internet use and its users because we have still started the chapter. In the next chapter we will learn about that also. And we did business, we did market research and marketing, and we did maths, we did factorizing. I practice for my exercise tomorrow in the class. Thank you and see you in my next lesson. Bye.